Police in one Florida county are trying to prevent crimes before they happen by using an algorithm to determine which citizens to spy on. You know, I read this and I had to read it a couple of times. This is the craziest story I've ever seen. You know, so they're saying, we're here to help you. That's their first words. We're here to help you. We're here to improve your life, and we're going to make life better for you. Tell the viewers what they're doing here.
Congratulations, you've been selected,
Yeah.
They say in the letter. And you've been selected by the Pasco County Sheriff's Office for increased and basically around-the-clock surveillance. And they say this is because, you know, maybe you have a criminal history, maybe your grades in school were a little questionable, maybe you're in a neighborhood that we don't like, but whatever it is, they're sending these letters, I think to well over 1,000 individuals at this point, letting them know that we're watching you. We're watching you. We're going to make surprise visits to your home without a warrant. And this is all for your protection, citizen. And if you go 2 years without breaking the law, maybe we'll stop checking up on you.
Well, what it is, it's a prolific offenders club, isn't it?
Yeah.
Welcome to our club. We looked at your social media. We don't like some of the stuff you're putting in there. We looked at how you grew up. Did you have any kind of problems in the past growing up? We don't like that. We've looked if you've ever been even charged, much less convicted. We look at your history of drugs and history of violence. You know, look, first of all, the problem with this is, if you're out there saying, can they do this? The answer is yes. They can do this, and because of what we call police powers, health, safety, and welfare. It's the same reason that we can tell a person, when you come out of prison, it's not over, we're going to follow you with parole. So it's the same analysis, only these people sometimes have been convicted, but they're in this special club where we're coming to your house, see how you're doing. We're going to make your life better.
Right, and what ends up happening, again, they say they'll drop people from the program if they've gone 2 years basically being clean, no charges, but they'll show up at their house and say, listen, we have to give you a citation because your grass is too long. We have to give you a citation because your music's too loud. Your car's parked in the street for 5 hours or more. It's all kinds of petty little, you know, citations, but any one of those citations allows these police officers to just, I guess, add another 2 years onto the surveillance system.
Well, what's interesting is there's no real set rules here, okay?
Right.
Is it demographics? Possibly. Is it your social media? Have you said some really crazy things on social media? Were you in trouble one time, but you weren't convicted? It's kind of really uncertain on how. There's 1,000 club members right now.
Yeah.
1,000 are welcome to the club right now. And as I look at this story, I mean, I'd like to say, yeah, this could be tested. I guess in some sense, it's justifiable. I don't know, but under constitutional law, I can promise you it's going to squeak through.
And a lot of the issue, too, comes down to the criteria, which we don't even know all the criteria yet. That's what might be challenged, but yeah, it's terrifying that they can do this.
They absolutely can. New filings show there's not enough to go around when it comes to compensating those people who've lost everything in the Surfside condo collapse. I want to welcome attorney Rachel Gilmer, who's following this case, as a matter of fact, working on this, trying to help these people. What did the defendants know, Rachel? What did they know when this collapse took place? If we go back and look at the book, what is it?
I think that's just it. We don't know what they knew.
Okay.
Now, there's multiple different defendants, and different defendants may have had access to different information. The Homeowners Association Board and the company that did the original inspection in 2018 had a lot of information, but they didn't have information that said the building is about to collapse. They had information that said you have major problems, major structural problems back in 2018. But by 2021, we see there really have been no major action on that report.
Well, what I'm wondering is it didn't shout out and say, hey, the building's going to collapse, but it talked about the fact that we have structural problems. We have rebar that's failing. We have concrete that's failing. What would those things be?
Well, and those are things that were visible to the naked eye. I mean, it wasn't even information or damage that a layperson couldn't see. It was very obvious that there were problems with this building. I mean, there's reports that a guy who was coming to look at doing a bid for repairs to the pool deck just days before the collapse called back to his boss and said this building has major issues that we can't even do the repair work. This has got a guy who's just coming to do a bid, not necessarily even an expert. So there's some things that were so obvious, and yet no action had been taken.
How did local government do with this? I mean, surely, I understand there's something where they do a recertification, a reinspection every 40 years, but in between there are people that show up and they're supposed to look at it and they're supposed to say, you got this problem and that problem. Didn't the government inspector just look at this place and say everything's good to go?
So we know that the inspector, the government inspector, received a copy of the 2018 report by the engineering firm that said there were major structural damages and said you're still good to go. There's allegations that the condo association said we've got a plan in place to repair these damages, but when that still hadn't happened 3 years later, there was no one from the government saying what's going on, why the delays, why has nothing been done yet. It was just kind of forgotten.
Well, do you think it's a broad problem with these condos are all up and down that same area? I mean, they're all built around the same time. A lot of them built with the same builder, same kind of material, same subcontractors. Isn't that one of the big problems we ought to be looking at?
I think it is, absolutely. And I read some reports that said there may not be one specific cause, but kind of a multitude of things that built up over time that then ultimately led to the structural collapse. So how many other buildings in that area have many of these other problems that are slowly building, and they're just waiting for that final straw that causes their building to collapse?
It's not likely that these people are going to be compensated. It's not only the loss of the family members, loss of life, injury of all kinds. This is where these people lived. I mean, these were their condos. They were expensive condos. Most of them don't have any insurance to cover that, do they? What is the financial layout on this?
There's estimates that the damages in this case are upwards of $1 billion. And yet the available insurance, is less than $200 million. So you hear millions of dollars in insurance available, and that sounds like a lot until you total up. You have 136 homes that have been destroyed. You have 98 people who have died. That's loss of earnings. It's pain and suffering to their family members. The damages in this case are astronomical, and the coverage available in comparison is very small.
Something I love that the judge is doing here. He's saying to lawyers that are signing these cases up, look, we need your help, but don't expect to get paid here, which is what a judge should do. The other thing the judge is doing is say, this is going to be on fast track. We got people have no place to live. They've lost everything. We need a fast track. We need to figure out how to allocate this money. That's the big issue, because you have a limited amount of money, so the allocation is the big issue, isn't it?
It is, and I think when lawyers get involved and you see big fee awards, it's because the lawyers had to do real lawyering to prove what happened, to prove who's at fault, or to get the insurance companies to turn over the money.
Not
in
here.
this situation, the insurance companies volunteered to turn the money over.
Yeah, exactly. I hope this judge keeps pounding on them. Thank you for joining me, Rachel.
Thank you.